Apophis flyby. On April 13, 2029, an asteroid the size of a skyscraper will fly past Earth at a distance so close it will slip inside the orbit of many satellites. The asteroid is called 99,942 Apophis, and it will pass about 31,600 kilometers above Earth's surface. In space, that is shockingly close. It is nearly 10 times closer than the Moon. For a few hours that night, people across Europe, Africa, and parts of Asia will be able to look up and see it as a bright point of light slowly gliding across the sky, even without a telescope. It will not look like a fast shooting star. It will move slowly enough that you can track it with your own eyes as it slides across the stars. Events like this almost never happen with an object this large, which is why astronomers around the world are already preparing to watch it. NASA's OSIRIS-APEX spacecraft is also planning to study Apophis after the flyby to see how Earth's gravity may disturb its surface. Deepest blood moon. On June 26, 2029, the Moon will pass through the deepest part of Earth's shadow during one of the darkest total lunar eclipses of the century. During a lunar eclipse, Earth moves directly between the Sun and the Moon and casts a huge shadow across the lunar surface. Sunlight bends through Earth's atmosphere, and the blue light scatters away, leaving mostly red light to reach the Moon. That is why the Moon turns red. But this eclipse will be different because the Moon will pass close to the center of the shadow, the darkest region, known as the umbra. That deep path can make the Moon look unusually dim, like a dark brick color, and sometimes it can feel like it is fading into the night sky. Totality will last about 1 hour and 42 minutes, which is long enough for the world to quiet down and for the stars around the Moon to pop out more clearly. Mercury transit. On November 13, 2032, the smallest planet in our solar system will slowly cross the face of the Sun. During this event, Mercury will appear as a tiny black dot drifting across the bright solar disk. The entire journey takes several hours, which makes it feel less like a flash and more like a slow, steady crawl. Transits like this are rare because Mercury's orbit is tilted compared to Earth's, so the planet usually passes above or below the Sun from our point of view. Mercury only makes a clean pass across the Sun about 13 or 14 times per century. To watch it safely, you need proper solar filters or equipment made for solar viewing, because looking at the Sun directly can damage your eyes. With the right setup, it is one of the strangest sights in astronomy, a whole planet reduced to a moving pinhead. Total solar eclipse. On March 20, 2034, the Sun will turn off in the middle of the day for people standing in the path of totality. A total solar eclipse happens when the Moon moves perfectly in front of the Sun and blocks it completely. The sky darkens fast, like someone pulled a dimmer switch on the whole world. The air can feel cooler. Shadows look sharper and stranger. Then, for a short time, the Sun's outer glow appears, a pale halo called the corona, surrounding the black circle of the Moon. This eclipse will be visible as totality across a long track that includes parts of North and West Africa, the Middle East, and into Asia, including areas that can include Pakistan and northern India. Even if you only see it partially, the light still changes in a way that makes people go quiet. Total eclipses do not happen often in the same place, which is why many people treat them like a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Saturn ring plane crossing. On October 15, 2038, Saturn will appear to lose its rings. The rings will still be there, but from Earth, they will become almost invisible. Saturn's rings are unbelievably wide, yet they are also incredibly thin. When the geometry lines up just right, we see the rings edge on, like looking at a sheet of paper from the side. From our perspective, the bright rings shrink to a narrow line and nearly disappear. For a short window, Saturn looks like a plain, golden planet, and people who have only ever seen it with wide-open rings will feel like something is missing. This kind of ring plane crossing happens about once every 13 to 14 years, so it is rare enough that it can easily slip past you if you are not watching. Then, slowly, the rings return, and the planet becomes Saturn again. 5-planet lineup. On September 8, 2040, something unusual will happen just after sunset. All 5 planets you can see with your naked eye will appear in the sky at the same time. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn will gather in one stretch, following the same gentle arc across the sky that astronomers call the ecliptic. The group will be packed into roughly 10 degrees of sky, about the width of your fist held at arm's length. This is rare because each planet moves at its own speed. Some nights one planet is hidden by the sun's glare, and other nights another planet is too low to spot. But during this window, the sky will look like it is showing off. It is one of those moments where you can point at the planets and feel like the solar system is lined up for you on purpose. Venus occults Regulus. On October 1st, 2044, the brightest planet in the night sky will briefly erase one of the brightest stars. Venus will pass directly in front of Regulus, the bright star in the constellation Leo. From Earth, it will look like the star simply vanishes behind the glowing disk of Venus, then slowly comes back. This is called an occultation, and it only happens when the alignment is almost perfect. That is what makes it so rare. Venus is close, Regulus is unimaginably far, and yet for a short time they will line up so cleanly that one blocks the other. It is the kind of event that feels like a magic trick in the sky, because you can watch the moment the star disappears, not in a photo, but in real time. Halley's return. On July 28, 2061, one of the most famous comets in history will return to the inner solar system. Halley's comet swings by roughly once every 76 years. The last time it came was 1986, and for many people it was disappointing because it was faint and badly placed. The 2061 return is expected to be much better. Under dark skies, you may see a glowing head and a long tail that looks like pale smoke stretched across the night. It will not feel like a normal sky object because it has shape. It has length. It looks like something passing through, not something fixed in place. For many people alive today, this will be the only chance to see Halley's comet with their own eyes. After 2061, it does not come back until 2137. Great Conjunction. Around March 15, 2080, Jupiter and Saturn will appear extremely close together in the sky. The two largest planets will draw so near from our point of view that they may look like a single bright object to the naked eye. Jupiter and Saturn line up about once every 20 years, but very close conjunctions are much rarer. When it happens, it feels like the sky is breaking one of its own rules, because you are not used to seeing two worlds share the same spot. If you use binoculars or a small telescope, the view becomes even stranger, because you can watch the two planets in the same field while their moons sit nearby like tiny moving dots. It is a quiet event, but it hits hard because it looks impossible at first glance. V Sagittae nova. Sometime around the 2080s, something that is normally invisible may suddenly become a new bright star in the sky. The system is called V Sagittae, and it is a strange pair of stars locked together. One of them is a white dwarf pulling material off its companion. Over time, that stolen material can build up until the system erupts in a nova, which is like a sudden bright flare. Scientists cannot promise the exact year, but if it happens, it could turn a spot of darkness into a visible star for weeks. Imagine walking outside one night and realizing the sky has changed because a new star is there where nothing used to be. That is the kind of rare event people remember forever, because it is not just a show. It is the universe rewriting the night sky while you are alive to see it. Earth transit from Mars. On November 10, 2084, anyone watching the sun from Mars would see Earth cross in front of it. Earth and the Moon would appear as tiny black dots moving across the solar disk, like the way we sometimes watch Mercury transit the sun from Earth. But this time, we are the ones doing the transit. For future explorers, it would be a strange and emotional sight. You would be standing on another planet, looking at the sun, and watching your home world pass across it like a small moving shadow. It is rare because it depends on exact alignment between two planets and the sun, and those alignments do not happen often. It is one of the few events on this list that feels like science fiction, but it is still real geometry playing out on a calendar. 3-moon occultation. On March 27, 2092, 3 of Jupiter's largest moons will appear to overlap as they orbit the giant planet. The moons Io, Ganymede, and Callisto will briefly align so that from Earth, they seem to merge into a single point of light. Each moon moves at a different speed, so getting 3 to stack up at once is extremely rare. For a short moment, 3 separate worlds become one bright dot beside Jupiter. Then the alignment breaks and the moons separate again, each sliding back into its own path. It is a reminder that even around another planet, there is a clockwork pattern of motion that can produce a perfect, unlikely lineup for just a few minutes. Keep looking up. Chances are you will catch at least a few of these with your own eyes, and the night will feel a little less normal after that.